Welcome to the AFC West Roundtable, a weekly live show featuring top-tier insight and analysis on all things AFC West. From the best creators in the division, including Denver Broncos creator Ryan, Kansas City Chiefs creator Marcus, Las Vegas Raiders creator Samoan, and Los Angeles Chargers creators Bolt Bros. Catch the AFC West Roundtable every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on the AFC West Roundtable YouTube channel. AFC West Roundtable, welcome back into another episode. We are so excited to be here, breaking down everything that happened in Week 4. And then, of course, as always, the second half of today's episode, we'll be previewing and getting these guys' thoughts and opinions on Week 5. But what a great week of football. As you can see, the panel, yet again, has been shaken up because the Chiefs are no longer at the bottom. The Raiders are no longer at number 2. These games had implications, and we are seeing the AFC West certainly start to shape up. But before we start getting into these games, let's go around the table. Let's get an updated listen about how these guys are feeling heading into Week 5. Andrew, how you feeling?
Always feeling good, my friends. Bottom line, the Chargers did not play a great game last week, and we can get into some statistics on that. But bottom line, it was one of those trap games. I kind of felt like it was coming. Justin Herbert's had 26 QB hits in the past 2 games. Broncos and Giants dry hump Justin Herbert's up and down the field. So unfortunately, I just think it was one of those games I think was set to come out. And look, I think they were a desperate team. The Giants, they had to do something. They shook it up, and hey, they played well enough to win the game. Point differential on that was turnovers, 2 turnovers. They got 11 points off turnovers, and it was really the big story of the game, in my opinion. Defense played great. Offense lackluster through the entire game, and can't win football games in the NFL like that. Oh, also 14 penalties, which actually doubled our actual yearly penalty for the first 3 games. So I was a little shocked, especially with the Jim Harbaugh coach team.
Are you worried at all just because you guys looked so dominant throughout the first 3 weeks and then to go out there and lose to the Giants, who, look, we all know they're not a great team, maybe better than some people projected, but they're not a great team. You had a rookie quarterback out there. You had your rookie quarterback out there trolling the Chargers and Justin Herbert's girlfriend, which was absolutely wild. Do you have any panic about this team yet after losing to a team like the Giants, or is it one of those situations where we don't give the Giants credit, we beat ourselves?
Yeah, I'm never going to say that the Giants did not do things effectively. They played a fairly clean game, right? They had a lot less penalties than we had. Bottom line, I really felt like we beat ourselves more than just about anything. If we can play clean football, we'll always win games. I just think our defense is that good. Offensively, we're normally better. But again, you also know we lost Joe Alt, so our offensive line has looked leaky. I mean, just to give you an example, our only starting defensive lines from week 1, our offensive linemen week 1 is our center, Bradley Bozeman, and our left guard, Zion Johnson, arguably the worst 2 offensive linemen from last season. So the line is pretty leaky. And unfortunately, the Giants and obviously the Broncos have a great defensive line. So hopefully we get a bounce back game. It's really going to boil down to see how we respond moving forward, right? We got the Commanders coming up this week. If we can get a bounce back game from them, life is good, and all will be well in Los Angeles.
We got somebody in the chat coming out here saying Rookie of the Week, Amari Hampton. Hey, I said after that injury to Najee Harris, I said, hey, look out for Amari Hampton to start climbing up the boards for Offensive Rookie of the Year, man. I stand by that. What do you think, Andrew? Is there a chance that he could really compete for Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Again, going back to the game a little bit, I was a little frustrated that we didn't continue riding that pony that entire game. Clearly, they were trying to do some quick game. I mean, Justin Herbert's been extremely efficient through the entire first 3 games of the NFL season. I think they thought they could just win with the quick game. And the Giants had a good, they defensively schemed it up really well. They took away the slants. McConkey wasn't great, but Amari Hampton, almost 165 plus total rushing or total offensive yards. I think it was 124 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. I think he had 5 receptions for 40, something like that. So absolutely incredible. Only 12 touches, guys, rushing. Only 12. Blew me away. And I was like, why aren't they just riding that horse? I think the biggest reason is Najee Harris is out. I think they didn't feel comfortable putting Haskins in there or Kamani Vidal as much. They want to keep the rookie fresh for the rest of the season. But I think they should have stayed with the hot hand, but they chose not to, and we got burned.
Certainly. I mean, I'm excited to get into that game because I think there's a lot to break down and the implications that can certainly have for the AFC West moving forward. But Marcus, let's go on over to you. You guys are able to get a pretty dominant win against a team that maybe some people thought you guys would not be victorious against. You guys have arguably your best game of the season. You're climbing back up the rankings here for the AFC West. How are you feeling?
We're back. I mean, dude, it was one of those games that, like, I know after the fact people want to say, oh, well, the Ravens are bad defense, but like pretty much every expert on every network, CBS Sports, NFL Network, Fox, ESPN, all of them picked the Ravens against us. I think it was the minority if someone picked the Chiefs. And then once we win the game, it's like, well, Ravens aren't a good team this year. Is it Harbaugh's last year in Baltimore? I mean, then they want to go back and rewrite history on that. But yeah, I mean, it was an awesome game. I know the Ravens defense metrics weren't good going into that game, which is why I felt so confident about that game. However, their offensive metrics, they were the number one scoring offense going into that game. And Steve Spagnuolo freaking dominated Lamar Jackson. And now Lamar Jackson's 1-6 against the Kansas City Chiefs. So it feels good to have that kind of victory against the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, the fact that, Lamar looked like he kind of threw in the towel there, didn't even play the whole fourth quarter, threw his helmet on the sideline. And yeah, but now we're seeing it might actually be a legitimate hamstring injury. But yeah, man, it was a nice dominating victory, which coming after the Giants win last week, which looked kind of meh, and then winning this game this week in the fashion that we did. Not just a win, but to dominate. And like we talked about in the show, we don't get a lot of these type of victories where it's a stress-free one. It was a stress-free one after the first quarter of that game. It was stress-free from second to the end of that game. So it was nice as a Chief fan to not have to worry till the end of the game.
Wow, 1-6 is absolutely insane. I mean, if they're ever going to make a potential Super Bowl run or even a deep playoff run consistently, that is something that Baltimore is going to have to certainly get past. But Ryan, let's go down to you. You get back into the win column. Maybe the last couple of weeks been a little bit down, but you're back up, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm not really moved by this win. This is what I wanted them to do and I expected them to do. So obviously, it's better than them losing and me just, pressing the nuclear button. But, I am kind of encouraged that Bo looked more relaxed as he should. The defense, everyone did what they should have done, which is good because it's part of the step to take towards, being a consistently good football team. And it's going to be a bigger test next week with the Eagles to see if you can take at least some of what you did against the Bengals and apply it to an actual competent team that didn't just lose their franchise QB for basically the whole season and a garbage defense. So a lot of good things happened, but, it was a good get back game in terms of sometimes you just got to kind of have those good things happen and know what it feels like to get in that groove. And even if you go up against a good team, you may just have a better feel about it and kind of get that confidence. So overall, like Marcus said, like stress-free game, like from the beginning, like I, was just eating dinner completely stress-free. I just knew we were going to whoop their ass. So it was kind of nice, got to watch football all Sunday stress-free. And then I knew what was going to happen. So no, solid game, but ultimately now they got to still improve.
Certainly still need to improve if you guys are going to turn things around and make any type of deep playoff run. But Simone, let's go on over to you, man. I mean, I feel like you've been pretty quiet. I don't really think I've heard Simone talk much since I saw him come in behind the stage to start today's show. I mean, last week you might have been a loser, but you were number 2 in the AFC West. You lose again, and now you drop all the way to 4, man. I mean, sign of the times for the Raiders, man. How you feeling?
Oh, man. I didn't get to have a stress-free Sunday. And, watching the Raiders, we never get to have any of those games where, we're chilling throughout the whole game. And this game in general, I feel like it was a winnable game, but I had us losing. I think it was just frustrating the way we lost because, they gave us a little bit of hope at the end. And then, of course, the Raiders being the Raiders. But I think it just sucks because we could have had it. I think that's the main thing. Of course, there was a lot of positives to take away from it outside of Geno Smith. And Geno Smith is starting to show his colors right now because the turnover game has been horrible. I mean, we had 4 turnovers, 3 from Geno Smith, 1 from Ashton Jeanty, but nobody's really talking about that because Ashton Jeanty finally showed out one time. At least in this game. It was great to see. It was great to see him look like the running back that we all expected him to be. Offensive line did way better this week, but just when one thing is going right, another thing happens and we lose Colton Miller, most likely for the foreseeable future, maybe the rest of the season. So it's like, damn, man, we can't catch a break at all. Yeah, but it all goes back to the quarterback play. You know, that's definitely going to be biting us in the ass. The defense did pretty much great for 90% of the game until like the last drive. But you know, there's some positives to take away from it. But the rest of the season ain't looking too good right now. I'm not pressing the panic button just yet, but it doesn't feel good though, man. And I know, hey, you know, it doesn't. I don't feel like when we lose, it's not like when the Chiefs lose, because I feel like they're still the Chiefs. But when we lose, it's like, damn, the season could be over right now, depending on how many games we start losing. And this is the third one in a row, man, since we beat the Patriots. And yeah, it's been getting tougher and tougher every single week, but it is what it is.
Hey, Simone, certainly not the way you want to be trending as the season progresses on here. At the end of the day, a win is a win and a loss is a loss, and that is the only thing that matters. But fellas, let's go ahead and let's start transitioning on over to the games here from week 4. Before we do that, though, big shout out to Chris, who comes in here with a crazy $10 donation, man. Shout out to Chris. As always, if you guys want your question, comment, concern, anything thrown up on the screen, I got to react to it. The panel has to react to it. The best way of doing so is to drop a super chat. And Chris says, hey, Colby, how about that Tyquan Thornton kid, huh? Man, a guy that had all of the promise coming out of college, but a new different offensive coordinator every year in New England. And you know what? He actually called out Patriots fans a little bit. After he started to pop off with the Chiefs, he was actually quoting Patriots Twitter. It was like, damn, maybe y'all shouldn't have gotten on my ass like that. And I was like, you know what, Tyquan? That's fair. Met him at the Super Bowl, got to talk to him a little bit about that Patriots departure. So for any Chiefs fan interested in checking that out, make sure you guys go ahead and do that. But I mean, Marcus, just in response to the super chat real quick, your thoughts and your takes from seeing Tyquan Thornton firsthand.
I mean, he's been great. I mean, we were talking about that during preseason. Like, at first, when they showed a clip of Mahomes throwing a bomb to him during minicamp, I was like, okay, well, it could be just off-season hype, a guy we grabbed, and, you know, it's a nice, flashy play throwing bombs to Tyquan. And obviously, you know, second-round pick, you guys had high hopes from my Patriot fans who for many years was talking about how great Tyquan looked, and it never panned out. But, of course, that could be, you know, Billy Zappi and Mac Jones could be the reason why that never panned out. But it's been great, man. And now when you have Worthy coming back, it's just a luxury to have another 4'2", 40 guy back there in Tyquan. And then when Rashee Rice comes back, now you're talking about Tyquan Thornton being your potentially wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. I mean, it just shows how deep our wide receiver room will be once everyone is back from injury and suspension. But he's been a great story. I think as far as if we didn't have him, I mean, who knows if we beat the Giants? Who knows, you know, where this offense would be? But having that guy as a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, man, it's electric, man. It's going to be a fun. When Rashee Rice comes back, I want to venture to say this might be one of the more prolific offenses we've had since the Tyreek Hill days, if not better. I mean, because wide receiver room wise, it's a deeper wide receiver room than we had during the Tyreek Hill days.
Wow, certainly one of the fastest offenses in the NFL when healthy in the Kansas City Chiefs and that wide receiver core. Wishing absolutely nothing but the best for my guy Tyquan Thornton. But Andrew, let's go on up to you. I know that you kind of talked about this game earlier, but just any last thoughts you have with what happened with the Chargers in this game, and where do you guys just go moving forward after losing against the Giants?
Yeah, I think they need to go back to the drawing board. I think, honestly, the offensive line has been a disaster. You know, Joe Alt going down. By the way, not sure how long he'll be out. 1 to 2 weeks, hopefully. High ankle sprain is what they said. So thank God it's not a season-ending injury. We did actually just sign somebody as well, too. We signed offensive lineman Michael Dunn. You know, I don't expect him to really, move the needle a whole lot on the offensive line, but they did elevate Foster Sorrell from the practice squad last week. He might have had to come in there, but the guy that we have running left tackle right now is Austin Deculus. We actually signed him from the Texans at the end of, or actually the beginning of the season for a 2027 conditional pick. So, you know, hasn't had a lot of time in the league, and, you know, you're protecting Justin Herbert's blind side. 26 QB hits in the past 2 games. So I said this before, he's been dry humped up and down the field for 2 games in a row. So they need to fix that. I just think they go back to what we did against the Chiefs, go more max protect, 2 tight end sets, jumbo sets, and just have, you know, a few wide receivers and a tight end, you know, out there running routes and protect Justin Herbert, man. I mean, he's someone that you just do not want to lose for the year. And so I think they need to go back to some old school football and start really running the ball with, Amorian Hampton. Everyone calls him O on the team. Apparently that's his name. So ride that pony and run the ball and play some old school smash mouth football. And I think it's the Chargers should go back to that. They've been running a lot of spread recently, right? Because Justin Herbert's been so efficient. But I think going back to something a little more safe to protect Herbert will be a good thing. So that's just my take.
Oh, Simone, you're hosting this week. Let's put you down there. There we go.
Hey, there we
that
go.
damn StreamYard, man. Every single week we're doing this, man. One of these weeks, y'all are gonna have to just start hosting. But hey, Andrew, real quick, my thought for you is just my question for you is just looking how the trenches for the Chargers, more specifically on that offensive line, is just dwindling down more and more and more. I personally believe that if you want to win games are won in the trenches. And I do believe that the offensive line is like an engine to a car, right? If the engine to your car is messed up, you can put the dye on the dashboard, but it's not going to matter if your car is not running. And I believe that 100%. The offensive line, like I alluded to, is that engine to the car. So do you believe with all the injuries that are now going on with this Chargers offensive line that could prevent you guys from having this offensive success that we've seen over the last few weeks?
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with you. And I think that was really the big difference in the game. I said on our reaction game right after or stream right after the game is as soon as Joe Alt went down, I think that offensive line just completely fell apart. Again, Mekhi Becton's been out. Arguably our only two good linemen were our worst two linemen on our team last year. So we're definitely a little weak on the offensive line at this point. Having said that, I think there's a lot of ways you can scheme people up. Like I said, use running backs, right? At the end of the day, if you do some zone reads, some zone runs, you don't have to have the best offensive line to run the ball effectively. So look, there's some things that Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh need to sit down and just really, scheme up for this next week. I don't think the spread offense is going to work out because if you only got 5 guys protecting and they're not the best at protecting, Justin Herbert's going to be a punching bag again this week, and we don't want to see that happen. So I think they need to get creative. I think they need to go to the short game a little more, and I think they really need to get that offensive line, pushing people for the run game. It's just the way I think they need to survive. So yeah, it's a stressful, frustrating situation, but we got to play bully ball, and right now we don't get the right people to do it. So hopefully they can coach up these guys correctly this week.
Certainly. Marcus, let's go on over to you. What are your current thoughts about the standing of the Chargers after this loss to the Giants?
Well, I think I said it last week. I know it was very the Chiefs win against the Giants, and people, and I saw in a lot of chat, a lot of the Chargers fans who I don't really see a lot of them this week in the chat this week. They were all dogging the win over the Giants, saying, "Oh, congratulations, you beat the Giants." Giants, like I said, they have a really good defensive front. They have some good pieces on that Giants defense, so it was going to be a test. And of course, Chargers went through 3 divisional matchups back to back, and you got to travel across the United States to play against the Giants. So it wasn't, and then also too, you don't have any film on Jackson Dart, so it was all kind of new with the whole Dart situation. And I think the thing that it kind of made me the most whoa about the whole the game was the fact that Giants led from wire to wire. Giants took the lead early in that game, and that was kind of it. They kind of held on tight till the end. And I know I've seen people online say, "Oh well, Alt got hurt early in that game," but I think the Giants already had a lead by the time Alt did get hurt in that game. So they just kind of held on tight for the rest of that game. But I gotta say, it just shows you that there's not a lot of parity in the NFL this year. You see the Packers go down to the Browns last week, and the Packers tie with the Cowboys. And you see the Giants, who the Chiefs lost to the Chargers, and the Chiefs beat the Giants by 2 possessions. Then the following week, they beat the Chargers, and the Chargers handled the Chiefs week 1. So it just shows you, man, the NFL is really tight this year. But yeah, I was happy about the way that game went. It made me feel better about beating the Giants by 2 possessions. But I think it just shows you it's going to be a tight race at the top of the AFC West. I know a lot of the Chargers fans last week, again, in the chat, were all saying it's pretty much all she wrote. And a lot of experts and pundits were saying that as well, too. So it wasn't just Chargers fans saying that. So I loved what I saw. Last week, I also made comment that I hadn't seen a Marlon Hampton flash yet. And we saw that this game. It was a huge game for him. He flashed. Cam Scatterbo also looked great in that game too. Ashton Jetty looked great. So all those rookie running backs I was talking about last week, they all kind of had their week 4 flashing. So that's something that if Joel is out for a couple of weeks, you can lean in on the run game with Omar and Hampton and see where that can take you to kind of take the pressure off of Herbert.
Yeah, certainly the most competitive we've seen the AFC West in a minute. So losing this game, obviously, maybe in hindsight right now, might not mean a whole lot. Chargers still at number 1, but what could this loss mean as time goes on and the season ultimately does progress, especially, too, as Marcus alluded to earlier, as the Chiefs do get healthier on the offensive side of the football. But Ryan, let's go down to you. What are your current thoughts on the the Chargers after that loss?
What I tell you guys, we don't know shit about Jackson Dart, and He did random stuff. Jackson Dart wasn't that great. Everyone overhyped, I think, his first start, which I guess in the grand scheme of things, looking at big picture, he was good. But, if you really look at it, I was watching the game. I watched the entire game. This dude just ran every single time. Like he couldn't, the Chargers really should have forced him to pass from the pocket and then they probably would have won because he was just running every time nothing was open. He just ran.
Agreed.
So that I think by halftime, I was like, dude, just make this dude stay in the pocket. He's just going to get overwhelmed, throw a pick probably. They're letting him run way too much. But this loss, I think, doesn't change anything for the Chargers. I think they're still a very good team. It was a trap game. I saw it from the beginning. And there's a lot of encouraging things like you guys mentioned, Hampton. He looked very solid. All the rookie running backs start to really flourish. Even RJ Harvey this week with his shared carries with J.K. Dobbins, he still put up good amount of yardage and start to flourish. So that's good to see. Justin Herbert still had some nice throws, of course, but yeah, he's getting banged up back there. So you definitely want to protect him, but obviously your O-line is banged up. So nothing that really startled me from the Chargers perspective, but nice to see you guys lose. So yeah.
It definitely makes the AFC West more competitive, right? Now that the Chargers have officially dropped one, what can that repercussion ultimately have down the line as we get into next week, into week 5? Only time's going to tell. But Simone, let's go on over to you. Wrap us up with this game. What are your thoughts on the Chargers?
Yeah, I guess I feel the same way as everybody else. Of course, it's good to see the Chargers lose. But it was great to see also Jackson Dart go out there and do his thing. The Giants, they're young rookies. It's good to see that they got a quarterback. And I look at the whole Chargers situation, kind of like the Raiders with the offensive line, struggling with that, and then seeing that their rookie running back went off this game. The only difference is that the Chargers got a better quarterback than us. But outside of that, I think the Chargers are still going to be competitive moving forward, as much as it pains me to say, but it all is going to come down to how well that offensive line is. I mean, I've seen firsthand from our team that an offensive line could definitely dictate whether or not you can win ball games. But yeah, overall, it was just good to see that they took an L, and it gives us a chance, at least. Not joking, but yeah, I think overall, it made me feel better about our loss. After seeing them.
Did you just crown Jackson Dart after one game? Did you crown Jackson Dart?
It was good to see. No, I'm not talking about Jackson. I was talking about Justin Herbert.
It's good to see that they have a quarterback.
No, I didn't.
Were you talking about the Giants? Yeah, you said that.
No, I said the only difference between us and the Chargers.
No. You said it's good to see that they got a quarterback when you're talking about the Giants and Jackson Dart.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, a solid quarterback.
That's one game. I've seen Drew Lock put up a performance. Look where he's at now.
But it's good that they got a quarterback better than Russell Wilson to lead them to a victory. I mean,
how do we know that? How do we know that? There's 13 years of Russell Wilson film, and there's nothing of Jackson Dart. He could be worse.
I'm just saying that beating the Chargers this year hasn't been easy for everybody. But Jackson Dart in his first start, I gotta give him kudos for that.
I don't trust anyone that puts eye black on one eye and wears that thick diamond chain during the game.
It's a patch, bro. It's a patch.
Still,
that diamond necklace is bigger in person. Roundtable Sports.
He's lucky Aqib Talib's not in the league.
That thing's thick.
Talib who?
He's lucky Aqib Talib is not in the league, or else that shit would get snatched.
Yeah, it would have happened now in Vegas, dog.
Or Vontaze Perfect, man. That guy would have floored him. But anyway, let us know your guys' thoughts about this game in the comment section below. Let's go ahead and let's transition on into the next game here from week 4. Marcus, we heard you reference this game a little bit earlier, but break it down to us. How are you guys able to come away with your most dominant win of the season so far against a team that many are projecting should be able to make the playoffs this year with a breeze?
Yeah, it was probably one of the best combined efforts from offense and defense of the last few years that I've seen. Defense outside the first drive, which Spags, if you watch the Spags run, defense, usually first drive is kind of where he lets things kind of play out. And then after that, he kind of takes over. First drive, Baltimore down scored. And then after that, it was Dunsky for them. 3 for 10 on third downs, 2 takeaways, 3 turnover on downs. It was their lowest point total of the year. This was the number 1 scoring offense going into this game, and Spags just totally dominated them, man. It was great too. And also, you saw Chris Jones playing with passion. He literally just got off a plane from burying his aunt, and he landed in Kansas City about 30 minutes before game time. He came out, had a great game as well, and you can see that it kind of fueled the defense. Everyone was kind of playing with passion. But yeah, defense played phenomenal. And I read a stat earlier that the last 30 games Lamar Jackson has played, he's only had multiple turnovers in 3 games. One of those was against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game a couple years ago. One of those was in the divisional against the Bills last year, and then on Sunday against the Chiefs. So there's obviously this mental block that Lamar Jackson can't get over when coming against the Chiefs, and Spags obviously has the recipe against him. Then offensively, this is the big thing in this game. I know Ravens bad defense, but still Chiefs have played bad defenses over the years, and we haven't really looked that part. And in this game, Mahomes 4 touchdown passes, the first time since October 2023, and obviously helped having Xavier Worthy back. And just showed you like that he is a real game changer. I know some people call him a gimmick player, a gadget guy, and he's everything, man. He really opened up his offense big time. So much so that Mahomes is handing out TDs like Oprah, man. You get a TD, you get a TD, you get a TD. Hollywood Pacheco and Tyquan and Juju all had touchdowns in this game, and Juju being our wide receiver 5, pretty dang good for a wide receiver 5. And then in a couple weeks we'll see Rashee Rice back. So it's slowly getting there, slowly looking like that Legion of Zoom that we had a couple years back. That crazy stat I saw, so I know everyone wants to talk about the Chiefs' offense looking rough, but it's not just this week. The Chiefs have scored on 54% of their drives this season, which is 3rd best in the league, only behind the Colts and the Buffalo Bills. So yeah, and then also defensively, over the last 3 weeks, they're the number 2 scoring defense in the league, giving up 16.3 points a game. So yeah, it seems like it wasn't just this week against the Baltimore Ravens. It's every week. It's getting better and better and better. And I think people should be scared. I really do. Not just the AFC West, but the entire league. To be quite honest with you.
Ooh. Now, Marcus, do you believe that between this win and last week's win against the Giants, do you believe that your Chiefs have had a confident win this season that you feel good about? Or is it one of those situations where you're taking care of business the way that you should, but you want to see a win against a dominant opponent? Or do you feel like you've already had that?
Well, I think the Ravens were that dominant opponent. I know people can say what they want about the Ravens defense, but there was a reason why everyone and their mom was picking the Ravens against the Chiefs last week, because people didn't think the Chiefs had it. And quite frankly, I was kind of, like I said, we've played against bad, crappy defenses before and didn't look the part. We looked the part finally in this game. We were able to do what we've been talking about doing for a couple of years now with having Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown, and we don't even have the 3 parts. We don't have all 3 guys yet. So yeah, I think this Ravens game was that dominant effort offensively and defensively. The Giants game, honestly, at the time, I was like, we kind of looked rough in that game. The second half, we looked great. But after them beating the Chargers, I felt even better about that Giants game. So, yeah, I love both those games that you put in together, the Giants and the Ravens game together.
Ryan, let's go down to you. What were your thoughts about the Chiefs' win over the Ravens?
Less about the Chiefs, more about the Ravens. I was right. Screw you, Lamar. You're not shit against the Chiefs. But unfortunately, what I was kind of already feeling is I was, Chiefs are starting to, make that comeback. Everything's regressing back to the mean. Chargers lose, Chiefs win, Broncos win, Raiders blow it. So things are starting to shape out how I think we all thought the season would start off week 1. But yeah, Chiefs look very good. And it's gonna be a tough race in the AFC West. They look very solid. Mahomes was spreading the ball everywhere. So now I'm definitely a lot more concerned about facing them whenever we do this season, just knowing that they can turn it on at any time like that. And I'm not completely convinced by our defense just yet. There's still some issues in specifically the secondary that I have problems with. So yeah, Chiefs looking like the real deal. I was never out on them. I just want to make that clear. I was never out on them. I picked them to win. I think, Marcus, you were a little bit concerned last week, and I was like, no, they're winning. The Ravens aren't going to do anything.
Ryan still a believer.
We got to believe. We got a Bronco Chief believer in there. I like that, Ryan.
Yeah, but I also believe that we have the best shot to take you guys down. We are the team that can take you down.
Oh, boy.
Don't say anything, Simone Raider. You lost to the freaking Bears.
Hey, I ain't say nothing, dog.
You moaned. Stay down there.
Simone's your free therapy, Ryan. Simone's your free therapist. Right
he's a manipulator.
No, it's good. It's good. You don't have to pay him an hourly rate. He's here to help you out.
Only time will tell if the Broncos really can be the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see that later on this season. But Simone, let's go on over to you. What were your thoughts about the Chiefs win against the Ravens?
I felt the same way as well, was Ryan? Yeah, Ryan. I actually picked the Ravens to win because I didn't want. I was nervous about the Chiefs actually bouncing back. I was never out on them though. Every loss that they had when they were 0-2, I was like, damn. Unless it was like 0-5, then okay, we could feel some type of way. But man, just stacking these wins back to back, and then especially this last week against the Ravens, which damn, I didn't think they were going to be that bad. But offensively, defensively, Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs team, that they're looking like the same Chiefs team that we see every single year, and especially when they catch momentum, that's when they're most dangerous. And yeah, it was a great showing by them. Kudos to them. I don't even remember when we were going to play them, but hopefully that's the week that they start doing bad, but we'll have to wait and see. But it was a great showing for the Chiefs, and I feel like, it's gonna be a tough race at the top, But yeah, kudos.
Good thing you don't got to worry about it.
Us top. It's right now we don't have to worry about me, but when we're at the top, it's gonna be I don't know what
Just
three.
Get your popcorn. Start pre-ordering your popcorn.
Don't talk to your therapist
No,
like that,
worry.
Ryan. That's
Don't
not
worry.
healthy. That's not healthy.
Well, fellas, let's go ahead and let's finish off this game. Let's go up to Andrew. Andrew, what were your thoughts on that Chiefs win over Lamar Jackson and the Ravens?
Man, I picked the Ravens, man. I got a buddy of mine who's losing his damn mind. He's a Ravens fan. I'm just like, bro, I don't know what's going on with your team. Lamar's out now? Woo! Did he have his grills in when that game started? He always says Lamar gets hurt when he puts a grill in before the game. I don't know if he did or not. Maybe someone leave a comment in the chat below. That's usually when he goes off and gets injured. So anyways, he's out for 2 to 3 weeks hamstring. But, dude, Mahomes, he's still the dude, man. 25 for 37, 270 yards, 4 touchies. We call him touchies on our channel. I don't know why. But Xavier Worthy, it's good to have him back. Pacheco looks okay, I guess. But, man, I mean, they look good, and your defense looks good, man. I mean, again, I always say this. It takes 5 weeks for a team to really know what they have. I mean, it just takes time. Week 1 is always a crapshoot, 2, 3, 4. I think week 5, I think the coaching staff knows who they have, and then they got to kind of work through the injuries that occur in the first few weeks. But I think this is when you really start seeing the team shine correctly. But, man, unfortunately for the AFC West, the Chiefs look good again. So it's going to be dogfight, guys. Like I said, I again, remember what I predicted. Chargers number 1, Chiefs number 2, Broncos number 3, and the Raiders, sadly, number 4, as per usual. So, but again, Samoan, I like you. Just so you know, you'll get there eventually. It'll take 2 or 3 years. But
yeah, that's mean. You're lying.
but I will say this: the Chiefs are back, and again, I wanted the Ravens to win. I didn't want to see my buddy. I didn't want him to be on a suicide hotline all weekend, but he's good to go. So anyhow.
Well, guys, let us know your thoughts about that Chiefs and Ravens game in the comments section below. Big shout out to Excel Raider here with the $2 donation. Says Raider fix Jacob Fatu for O-line. What do you think about that, Simone?
Yes, sir. It was anybody, man. We need to start holding tryouts over here at headquarters for some offensive linemen.
Hey,
now.
you should try out, Samoan. You kidding me? Get the veteran minimum there. All you need to play is for a year. You'll be good. Retire.
I'll probably get Geno Smith injured, bro. We need some bigger dudes.
yeah, you don't.
Don't worry, he'll throw a pick before he can get him injured.
With the way he's playing, maybe maybe a switch at quarterback isn't the worst thing. But hey, man, all seriousness, let's go ahead. Let's get into this next game. Ryan, let's go down to you. Like we alluded to earlier on in the show, you've been a little bit down over the last few weeks. Broncos haven't exactly looked like the best of team, but here in week 4, they're able to get a dominant win against the Joe Burrow-less Bengals, 28-3. How did you guys remain this dominant?
So, I mean, the biggest thing from this game was we could actually run the ball for the first time in years. This is the first time in Sean Payton's entire career in Denver that we've had a 100-yard rusher. The last time we had a 100-yard rusher was Latavius Murray. That was during the Nathaniel Hackett era, and Latavius Murray was like 30-something at that point. So, not only that, I think we had like 201 rushing yards or something like that. I don't know. We ran the shit out the ball, and it was so nice to see. Got the game to go by quicker as well. And then the passing game, it looked better. Bo looked a lot more comfortable. I still, am not too confident about it considering it was the Bengals defense. And I would have liked to see Bo push the ball a little bit more against a defense like that. But he made the throws that he needed to, especially right at the end of the first half. after he threw that stupid pick. Bo's just going to do that sometimes. I don't know, man. But, he came back and Sean set up that on that play. He bailed him out because I guess Sean called the wrong play because there wasn't going to be enough time left. And then Bo just threw a strike to Cortland Sutton in the end zone. And that's really when things, start to move even faster. And, the offense looked very good. O-line looked great. Trey Hendrickson, complete ghost yesterday. So that was very encouraging to see from Mike McGlinchey, who usually either gets flagged for holding or a false start. So, but the one concern for me right now with the O-line is Luke Wattenberg. This dude is just a flag magnet. And this kind of goes back all the way to Russell Wilson because of his contract. We weren't able to re-sign Lloyd Cushenberry, who's on the Titans, who was a very solid center. And we've been stuck with Wattenberg, who is subpar at best, and whether it's flags, bad snaps. So that is an issue. And unfortunately, we're just going to have to live with it unless they want to put in Alex Forsyth, which that's probably not going to happen because he hasn't been the starting center. But defense looked solid. I got a little bit worried in the beginning of the game. Riley Moss looked like he started to get cooked by T. Higgins like he did last year. T. Higgins had some nice catches, and then they locked everything down. So first 5 minutes of the game or first quarter, it started to look like, let's say first 5 minutes or first two drives, both offensively and defensively, things are starting to look like, oh, here we go again from the past couple of weeks. And then eventually they figured it out. And hopefully this is just this is a good stepping stone for them to carry that confidence to next week against the Eagles and, really feel comfortable. Bo should feel comfortable. It's going to be a completely different defense that they're going up against. Jalen Carter and that defensive line, they're going to be able to rush 4 and probably put on a lot more pressure than what the Bengals put on, because every single time Bo had a clean pocket. He had such a clean pocket. And when he has a really clean pocket, I think he's one of the best QBs in the league. He throws such a good ball, but when it gets messy in there and he's not completely comfortable throughout the game, that's when I start to worry, and he needs to develop in that aspect. And he did towards the second half of last year, being able to, sit in a dirty pocket, but, just need to see these things continue to develop. But all good signs. I'm not super, super encouraged by this win. I still want to see them do it against a competitive team, but they're still at that level. At least I know that they're still at that baseline of beating the teams you're supposed to beat, whooping their ass. Because I did want to see some style points, and they did do that.
Yeah, certainly that's the first step. No matter what kind of team you are, whether you're the Chiefs and you're out here going to Super Bowls, or whether you're the New England Patriots and you're down in the basement over the last few years, the first step in getting better is by beating up on the bad teams. And nonetheless, that's exactly what the Broncos did to get back on track. But Samoan, let's go on over to you. What were your thoughts about the Broncos beating down the Bengals?
Of course, I don't like seeing anybody else in the AFC West winning the way they do. But I got to give a lot of props. If I was Ryan, I'd be more happier, man. You guys dominated in this game.
I have higher expectations.
Okay. I guess you guys did. But, I'd say you guys did a great job. It must be nice to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. But yeah, overall great performance by them offensively. Bo Nix over 300 yards. I think 2 touchdowns and 1 rush touchdown. J.K. Dobbins looked good as well. It's good to see him resurging as well, over 100 yards rushing. So I think it was overall a dominant performance. Everybody basically thought that they were going to beat the Bengals. I didn't think the Bengals were going to be that bad, but damn. But yeah, props to them. Bo Nix looked good. J.K. Dobbins looked good. The defense looked good, and they came away with the win.
They came away with the win. All that matters. Andrew, let's go up on to you. What did you think about this game?
Yeah, it's called the donkey punch. It makes sense because it's the Broncos. But, dude, 512 total yards against 159 total yards for the Bengals. Good God. That is embarrassing. That's like a high school team out there. So, look, kudos to the Broncos. But I would agree, though, that the Bengals are probably one of the worst teams in the NFL this year, especially losing Burrow. Kind of another funny little pun we could throw it out there as well too. But anyway, my point is 326 passing yards. You rush the ball really well. I just think the Bengals are a terrible team. Clearly they don't have a lot of depth on that team at all. But the Broncos look good, man. I mean, Bo Nix, if I remember correctly, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong on this, is that Bo Nix started slow last year as well. So it looks like he's finally starting to cook a little much in the kitchen. Like Russell Wilson always says. But he did throw one comparison. Yeah, no, terrible. Danger witch, right? Yeah. No, but I mean, J.K. Like, I know how good J.K. Dobbins is. Trust me. Like, I wanted us to keep him with the Chargers, and if he is healthy, he is a lethal running back. And so again, just hopefully he can stay healthy this season. As much as I don't want that because he's such a good player for a AFC West rival, but he did his thing, man, and that's what he does. He's a great player. So yeah, I mean, kudos to you guys. You guys look good today. But
yeah, I could tell JK as well. Both him and RJ Harvey are starting to settle in a lot more. Yep. They're looking a lot more patient with the O-line, letting those holes open up. And it looks like JK's like leading Harvey a lot in terms of being patient. Because before, in the past couple of games, I never used to see Harvey actually, kind of like stutter step stop, let the hole open up. He would just go right in, and if it's not there, he just bounce it out. So it's good to see that JK is, teaching him his ways, and JK is also starting to get more comfortable with the O-line as well.
Yeah, I mean, it takes time. Like I said, I've always said it at least takes 5 weeks, right? Yeah. So seeing the Chiefs heat up, the Broncos heating up, and hey.
Yeah, that's what happened last year for us. It took us about 5 weeks, and then from there, everything went rolling. That's why I was never too concerned. But obviously, it just sucks that we lost those past 2 games, or else we'd be 4-0 right now if it wasn't by those small margins. So.
Well, Ryan, don't get down too much because as Bill Belichick would always say, you don't know real football until December rolls around. September is just the extension to the preseason. So real football is just getting started. But Marcus, let's go on up to you. Finish us up with this Broncos and Bengals game. How much do you take away from the Broncos beating down the Bengals, who obviously, when Joe Burrow's in there, look, that's a playoff team. But when Joe Burrow's not in there, given some of their issues on the defensive side of the football, do you still feel that this is a dominant win for the Broncos?
100%. I mean, again, like when the Chiefs played the Giants last week, that's an opponent you should win. You should beat that opponent, right? I can't say the same for the Chargers this past week, but when the Broncos are playing the Bengals, that's a team they should win, especially when you have Browning in there, and they did. And it's an offensive line that I knew this pass rush was going to feast on. I mean, Bonito showed why he's one of the best, if not the best, edge rusher in the league right now. I mean, I think he has a sack in every game so far. Maybe one game he doesn't have one, but so far he's just.
I think he does. Yeah,
I mean, he's cleaning it up, man. Like, I mean, he's been awesome. I think there's one thing that is interesting. I saw a stat somewhere on Twitter today that whenever Bo Nix throws more than 30 pass attempts in a game, it's like over 60% of the time he throws an interception, which is something that's very interesting. Again, he's a young QB still. But that's interesting stat that when he throws more than 3 attempts in a game, chances are he's throwing a pick. It's over 60% of the time, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, the run game between RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins, he looks good, man. I mean, he's continuing where he left off last year and having RJ Harvey there to kind of complement him so he isn't getting the full, bell cow role of 20 more carries. I mean, it's good for J.K. Dobbins. So, yeah, it's a win they should have had, and they beat them handily. And, yeah, that was one of the games that when I bet on it, I actually sold points for this game because I knew the Broncos, with what their strengths are versus what the Bengals' weaknesses are, I knew they were going to have a field day with it. So, yeah, it's a win that they should have had, and they did what they're supposed to do. And also got to give kudos to Sean Payton, man. Some of the stuff he schemes up, he's got guys wide open in his schemes, man. It's just Sean Payton's one of the best play callers in the league.
I also want to mention this stat because I think last week I said something about how Sean Payton typically isn't that good in September, and DeAndre Witherspoon also said heading into October, Sean Payton wins 75% of his games between October and December. In September, Sean Payton, his entire career, is 30-30, and in October he's 50-17. So pretty drastic difference. So expect things to for us Broncos fans, we expect things to go up from here.
Certainly. Well, guys, let us know what you think about this game in the comment section below. We got one more game to get into from week 4 before we start previewing week 5. So, Samoan, let's go on over to you because ultimately you guys are not able to be victorious. Just a 1-point loss there to Caleb Williams and the Bears. What happened in this one? Certainly a game that you guys could have been in. The Bears still trying to figure things out with their team on both sides of the football. Break this one down for us.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, man, this was a tough loss. And I feel like majority of it comes down to the turnovers that we had. And I kind of alluded to this in my like recap video. Like I called Geno Smith the drive killer because he was killing a lot of drives with those dumb interceptions. And this isn't even the first time he's done it this season. I think it was against the Chargers where he threw 3 interceptions as well. But that's where we start. Is definitely there with the quarterback and just not being able to keep drives alive and just, help our defense out. And shout out to the defense, man. Our defense so far this year, outside of the Commanders game, they've been pretty solid for the most part. Max Crosby came away with his first interception of his career. Defense did real great for majority of this game. But overall, the Raiders had 4 different turnovers in this game. And, Ashton Genty, that's a bright spot. Ashton Genty, and even seeing Raheem Mostert play his first game with the Raiders this year, really was a great complimentary back to Ashton Genty. But just to see Ashton Genty not only like rush for over, I think it was 138, but a total of 155 yards, had 3 touchdowns on a day, had a 64-yard touchdown. I mean, it was good to see him finally stand up and get his old stance back a little bit. So maybe that's the difference. I don't know. But it's good to see that the running game is going. It's good to see that the offensive line held up. For the most part, like I feel like the Raiders played a much better game than we did last week on all facets of the game, other than the quarterback position, which really killed us. And even as bad as Geno Smith was in this game, the Raiders still had a chance. And that's what's real frustrating, is the fact that they gave us a little bit of hope. I was there in the stadium. Of course, there was a lot of Bears fans over there, but I was like, okay, we got this in the bag. But then again, something was telling me, back in my head, I was like, I don't know. And then, of course, in Raiders fashion, man, we lose to just a blocked field goal. And the defender that came in on that one came in untouched. So that was a tough one. So just losing this game the way we did it, I think overall it was tough. Start off the season 1-3 is not going to be easy to bounce back, but we still got a long way to go. I'm not pressing the panic button on the season just yet. There's been plenty of teams that turned their season around, starting 1-3. So, there's a little bit of hope there. But unless Geno Smith can clean up his act, it's going to be a long season. And especially with Colt Miller out for the foreseeable future, I don't know who we're going to play at left tackle. Right now, they're saying Stone Forsyth, and that dude's not – I don't have a lot of trust in him. So if the offensive line looks as bad as we have been the first 3 weeks, then, yeah, it's gonna be a long, long season. But right now, I got a little bit of hope in them. I'm just hoping to see more better play from Geno Smith moving forward.
Only week 5, and it sounds like the Raiders certainly have some things to figure out. Some things are on the uphill rise, but some things are certainly going downhill, like maybe that offensive line that already had questions over the last few weeks. But Andrew, let's go on up over to you. What are your thoughts currently on the Raiders? Started off the season hot. People started to think maybe this is a team we have to watch out for. Over the last few weeks, though, it's trying to come back down to earth.
There's an old saying, the cream rises to the top, and the Raiders aren't the cream. But here's the thing. You shouldn't feel bad, Samoan. I like you, buddy. You're probably the only Raider fan I actually really do like. But I will say this. Geno Smith had as many passing yards as Jackson Dart this game, right? 117, almost exactly what Jackson Dart has, a rookie. But he had 3 interceptions. So that's a problem. You got to control the game. You got to control, look, you got to just not turn the ball over. I mean, that's why the Chargers lost this game to the Giants last week. 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions that were just kind of flukes. And unfortunately, that was the difference in the game, right? It was only 3 points that we lost. You guys lost to a blocked field goal. Your defense is awesome. Okay. So you have to hang your hat on that and you say, okay, great. Our defense is awesome. But the offense cannot wet the bed and give the ball up that many times and expect to win an NFL football game. You're not going to do it. And really the Bears aren't a great team. They're not ready to really be elite at this point. Caleb Williams is still figuring out how to be an NFL quarterback, new head coach, new offensive system, all the above. But Ashton Genty, he looked good though, bro. So, I mean, and just so you know, Samoan, I was pulling for you guys. I rarely cheer for the Raiders. Trust me, I rarely cheer for the Raiders. But I wanted that field goal in, and I just wanted to, I like you, Samoan. You're a good guy, man. You're nice and humble. You're awesome. You got good comments. You give Ryan free therapy. I appreciate that. He's always talking. You got to talk him off the ledge every week. It's exciting. But
both moving on the bottom. That's why.
Well, exactly. But I'll just say this again. I've said this so many times. Raider fans, you have nothing to be sad about. You guys have talent. You just need this coaching staff to get a couple more good drafts in them and a couple of good offseason acquisitions. You guys will be right as rain eventually, but I think 2 years would be fine. So, like you got a lot to be happy about, but it was a close game. At least you didn't get blown out, right? You could be worse. You could be the Bengals.
That's true.
Just get
you got to look at the glass half full. There you go. Glass half full. You didn't get blown out. It's a loss, but it was a 1 point loss. At least you're making progress with your losses, right? Something
100%.
to hang your hat on, Samoan, my guy. All right. Don't get down bad. Don't get down mentally. I'll check on you later. Hang your hat on the fact that you didn't get blown out. I promise it'll get you through it. But Marcus, let's go on over to you. What were your thoughts on this Raiders game?
Yeah, I felt bad for the Raiders on this one. I live in the DC area, so I didn't. I know you guys played the commies this week. Never mind. But I will say it was the best your offensive line has played, and I've seen a bunch of PFF metrics on how you guys played awesome. But it was his worst. It was Geno Smith's worst game, which doesn't make any sense. And I'm already seeing Raiders fans, and I'm sure you see it all over the place, Raiders fans saying to blow it up, fire Carroll, get rid of Geno. I mean, it's like, I'm sure you're like, not this again, right? I thought we were going to have a solid team, a solid coaching staff to not have to worry about this kind of stuff so early on in the season. But yeah, I mean, that's going to come with these losses. And the thing is, Carroll loves Geno so much, you're probably not going to see a Carroll kind of take Geno from the game anytime soon, even if these kind of games kind of continue. And the thing is, if you're going to do that, you're going to go to Kenny Pickett. I mean, it's just not like it's an upgrade over Geno. It's not like you have a youngster waiting in the wings for him. So like that's just it's an interesting problem to have with your offense. But takeaways: Ashton Jetty, phenomenal. He's got Michael Myers stance back, so he's looking like the guy you guys were hoping you were going to draft out of Boise State. So he's looking fantastic so far. And this is a blowout game for him. And then on top of that, I gotta say kudos to Bowers playing through the injury. I mean, I think he's really badly hurt, and he's still playing through it, man. So kudos to Bowers. I think that's you guys kind of need that. You got to need that fire from a team that's ailing like they are on offense, to know a guy's going out there and playing through a bad injury as he is playing through. And defensively, like Bull Pro said, like you guys are playing awesome. I mean, the amount of turnovers and giveaways you had, and to keep the game that close and to be up at the very last second of the game, it just shows you how great the defense is playing. Crosby's a beast. Devin White's playing out of his mind. So, I mean, you got to love that at least one side of the ball, it seems like you guys have that down right now. And outside that last drive by the Bears at the end of that game, I mean, you guys, for the most part, kind of handled them. I mean, they had all these extra possessions, man, and it's just tough, man. Looking at your play-by, I mean, I watched the game, but looking at the play-by-play as far as by quarter, I mean, first quarter, man, Bears punt it. You guys hit an interception. They score a field goal. You guys fumble it. They have an intercept. The Bears have an interception. It was just ugly football in that first quarter of the game. But yeah, it's just not sustainable to continue to give up these possessions like the Raiders have. And Geno's got to figure it out, man. And Carroll's got to talk to his guy. He's got to level with him.
Yeah.
Certainly starts with the coaching, man. And we'll see what Pete Carroll can do as a guy that's obviously had a lot of regular season and postseason experience and success. But Ryan, let's go down to you. Wrap us up here with this recap for week 4 before we get into these previews.
I know I talked shit last week on my Bears fans, but shout out to them. They told me to bet on the Bears, so I did, and that won me some big money. Screw the Raiders. So, but jokes aside, I told you what I say. Ashton Jeanty was going to have a big game. This was going to be his breakout game. Bears do not have that great of a defensive line. Nothing to take away from Ashton Jeanty. But I'll definitely say the game was a lot closer than I thought it would be. The Bears should have capitalized on all those turnovers much better than what they did. So the Raiders still, they shot themselves in the foot so many times, but the Bears were also shooting themselves in the foot. But yeah, Geno's showing his true colors. I told you he's not that great. He's just gonna make some of these dumb decisions. He threw the same pick twice. I don't know if anyone saw that or like you listened to that. Same exact pick. Like I was laughing my ass off watching that. But yeah, Raiders gonna Raider right now, and yeah, I'm not gonna try to hate on you guys too much because don't need to kick you while you're down. So, but.
He is your therapist, Ryan, remember.
No, he's not my therapist. No, he's not my therapist. He's trying to pull me down to hell with him. Football hell.
Yeah. Samoa's that better help for you. Free therapy online. Better help.
Right. But I appreciate it, but no.
that is going to wrap us up here for our recaps of week 4. Before we start getting into our previews here, though, for week 5, want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video over at Sleeper. Use the promo code you see on the screen, RTS. Again, that is RTS, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Guys, every single week we build a parlay. Unfortunately, right now, Sleeper is still building their overall parlays and odds for week 5. So there isn't one that we can run here for the AFC West. But make sure you guys let us know, what are some of your favorite parlays that you're looking for on the Sleeper app in week 5? Let us know in the comment section below and help out your fellow fans and friends in the comment section below. But fellas, let's go ahead and let's transition back into these games. And of course, we do want to start off here with the Chargers because they are number 1 still, at least heading into week 5 in the AFC West. And the Chargers are going to be facing the Washington Commanders. The Commanders who last week, they didn't have Jaden Daniels. They didn't have Terry McLaurin. We'll see if they do ultimately come back into this game. But Chargers are coming off of a loss against the Giants. Certainly need to get right. Andrew, do you believe that this is the game where you guys get back on track?
Dear God, I hope so. I think Jaden Daniels probably will play, which is I'm a little frustrated at it, or I would like him not to play this game, but it does look like he should be available. I'm not sure about Scary Terry. I think bottom line, we got to go back to just playing some bully ball and just run the ball, get more touches, and really just start pounding the rock a little more. I understand the argument of spreading it out when you have Keenan Allen, Lad McConkey, who really hasn't done a whole lot this season so far. And Quentin Johnson is arguably one of the better, he's QB1 on this team right now. He's looked really good downfield. So I can understand why you would want to throw the ball, but Herbert cannot keep getting hit, right? The good news is the Chargers aren't going up against a great defensive line right now. So I think we should be okay to potentially do some quick passes and kind of continue on with the quick game that we want to have and what we've been doing these past 2 weeks. But I really want to see it be a little more of a mix, pass and throw, and really control this game from beginning to end. Bottom line, the Chargers defense is elite. I think we are actually, I was just looking at the stats on it as we were chatting. We're 4th in the league, only giving up 17.8 points per game, right? So, and I think we're scoring around 24 points per game. So as long as we're not turning the damn ball over, which is what we did last week against the Giants, we're going to be fine. So again, Chargers should win this game. I think we win by a field goal. It's at home. Bolt Bros are going to be there. It's not going to work out, unfortunately. So I'll be watching on TV at home. But it should be a good game. I think this will be a bounce back game. It'll come down to the wire, but I think the Chargers should pull this one out.
All right,
for sure.
We got Andrew taking the Chargers week 5 against the Commanders. Marcus, let's go on over to you. Are you also going to take the Chargers in this game?
The fact that it's only a 3-point spread is kind of interesting.
Yep.
Obviously, Daniels, I mean, he might play. It's trending in that direction. McLaurin probably not going to play. So they're going to be relying on, guys like Luke McCaffrey. I think they just signed Robbie Anderson as well today. Robbie, the chosen one, Anderson. It looks like 80% of the money is on the Chargers in this game. And I think with Daniels coming back, and I think the Commanders, honestly, being without a lot of guys last week, and the fact they even kept that game close to Atlanta, and they almost had it at the end of that game. I think Commanders, man. I'm going to go Commanders to upset this week. I think that spread's really weird, and I think Von Miller's going to bring it back, man. He's playing against his old foes, the Chargers. He's going to come back and muster up a sack in this one. I'll go Commanders in this one for an upset.
Ooh, Marcus is going to go with the Commanders over the Chargers. Let's go down to Ryan. Ryan, what are your thoughts? I know sometimes you like to take the hot hand. Are you going to take the hot hand again?
I'm taking the Chargers. I think they'll bounce back. I think the Commanders, even if Jaden Daniels plays, they're still going to kind of, be figuring out getting back in the groove with him since he's been out. And they kind of been up and down. So I'm gonna take the Chargers. I think last week, like I said, it was a trap game. They're gonna get right this week. And they're going to go back to doing their business as usual. Doesn't mean I'm super high on the Chargers. I'm just saying, based on the patterns, and they are a solid team. I'm gonna take the Chargers.
Oh, we know, Ryan. We know.
All right, we got Ryan taking the Chargers. So let's go ahead and wrap up this game. Kick it on over to Simone. Simone, are you going to make this 3 out of 4 Chargers, or are you going to have it split evenly down the middle?
Yeah, I think only because I can't count them out. I got to go with the Chargers on this one. whether or not Jaden Daniels does play, I feel like they have enough firepower. What the fuck, offensively and defensively to compete with them all four quarters of the game. And this seems like it could be a bounce back game for the Chargers. So yeah, I'm just gonna root for them this week.
All right, Simone's also going to take the Chargers, which means, Marcus, you are the lone one here taking the upset with the Commanders. Only time's going to tell who's going to be right and who's going to be wrong, but make sure you guys tune in next Tuesday when we break down these games. But guys, let's go ahead and let's transition on into the next game because, Marcus, your Kansas City Chiefs, who are coming off of 2 back-to-back wins, are now facing the Jags. The Jags, who are 3-1, they're actually looking better than people are giving them credit for. If the playoffs started today, they would be in the race. So definitely a test here for the Chiefs. Marcus, what do you have happening in this one?
Yeah, actually, a lot of people are actually already hyping up the Jaguars this week. It's like, I know once we beat the Ravens, like, well, wait till they play Jaguars. It's a real defensive test. And right now they are ranked 5th best scoring defense in the league. However, if you look at the offenses they've played, they've faced the 23rd, the 26th, the 29th, and the 30th ranked offenses so far this season. So, again, like we talked about the first 5 weeks of the season, we don't really know what kind of teams we're dealing with here, but they played chumps as far as offensively over the last few weeks. They played Purdy coming back from a toe injury, Juwan Jennings getting knocked out of that game against the Niners. So, I mean, yeah, it was a good win for them. I think, Chiefs are a 3.5-point favorite on the road in Jacksonville on Monday night. Primetime Mahomes against Trevor Lawrence. I think Spags is going to whip up a nice little game plan for old T-Law. I'll take the Chiefs big this week.
All right, we got Marcus taking his Chiefs. Ryan, are you also going to take the Chiefs in this one to get their 3rd straight win?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the Chiefs losing this one. Everyone's talking up the Jaguars for some reason, and for good reason, but Chiefs they're starting to get on that roll now. The snowball is going to turn into an avalanche soon. So I think that the Jaguars still have a lot to figure out. Like you mentioned, Marcus, they haven't really faced that great of offenses. So we're really going to see, this is going to be a big test for that Jaguars defense. And, the Chiefs got some weapons back. So yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs on this one. Put some money on them too.
All right, Ryan is taking the Chiefs, and he's putting money on the Chiefs. And, of course, we all know that he's going to be using Sleeper to do that. Of course, we know he's going to use Sleeper. The best place to do so to put your odds and parlays down. But, Simone, let's go on over to you. Who are you taking in this game?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I didn't even know the Jacksonville Jaguars were 3-1. I haven't kept up with anybody else, but that's pretty interesting there. But yeah, as a Raider fan, of course, I would want the Jacksonville Jaguars to win. But as a realistic fan, you can't count out the Chiefs. I mean, we haven't been counting them out for the past couple of weeks, and just to see how dominant they've been looking, especially in this last game, it seems like they're just getting started right now, and I don't think that Jacksonville has enough to stop them. But we'll see. But I definitely have to go with the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs for this week.
All right, let's go up on to Andrew. Andrew, you going to make it 4 out of 4 for Kansas City?
Unfortunately, yes. I would like to see that. Of course, I'm no Jag lover. You guys know what happened to the Chargers in that playoff game a few years back. Trust me, I still have PTSD from that loss in that playoff game. But having said that, I do think the Chiefs are rolling. Yeah, it's kind of strange why people keep talking about the Jags. I don't know. I'm not a believer yet. I will say this: if they beat the Chiefs, I will be a believer. I'll be like, okay, there's something there. But I just think Spagnuolo is going to get some things going. Andy Reid is a good coach, and Patrick Mahomes looked good last week. So I think they're going to have enough weapons that despite the Jags having a pretty good defense, they're not going to stop. The Chiefs this week.
All right, well, we got everybody on the panel taking the Kansas City Chiefs for their 3rd straight win over the 3-1 Jags. Let us know what you guys think about this game in the comment section below. Let's go ahead and let's transition on into the next one because Orion, your Denver Broncos, who are coming off of a big win, a blowout win against the Bengals, are now facing a true test with the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. Boy, oh boy, what do you have happening in this one?
Yeesh.
Listen, I know I haven't been high on our team and all, but I'm taking the Broncos this week. I think I think they're going to show some big improvements here. Although it is going to be in Philly and it is going to be a tough game. They got some turmoil boiling over there because AJ Brown's not happy. Pat Surtain is going to lock him up. I mean, that's just what he does, especially against big guys like him. He did it to DK, and he's done it to Jamar Chase, all these other guys. He's going to continue to have a stellar season. He's going to lock him up. The biggest thing is going to be covering the middle of the field and stopping Saquon Barkley. If the defense can do that and the offense can, just move the ball somewhat down the field, maximize, at least get some field goals, not turning the ball over, minimizing those penalties, because that's the one thing is that this team definitely still has to improve on quickly is those penalties, because this offense can't get going if we continue to have penalties, and the defense, they can't get these stops if they continue to have penalties. So I expect them to clean it up. I feel like a lot of people are just going to be taking the Eagles based on, the Eagles have, looked pretty dominant in a sense, and they've also, and the Broncos have also dropped, those close games. So I think this is going to be, I guess you could say, trap game, but I'm going to take the Broncos. I don't know. I just have a gut feeling. Could be completely wrong. We could get blown out, but I'm going to take the Broncos on this one.
Ryan is taking his Denver Broncos, his 2-2 Denver Broncos, to beat the 4-0 undefeated Philadelphia Eagles on the road. How about that, Ryan? I love it. Simone, let's go on over to you. You also going to ride with the hot hand here, too? Or you going to ride with the undefeated team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know the Broncos, they definitely looked real competitive last week, and rightfully so. I mean, they look good, and I feel like this game is going to be a true testament on whether or not the Broncos are for real or not. And I feel like they have a good chance at beating the Eagles. It's going to be good. It's going to come down to the wire. I think it's going to be a close one, but I'm just going to go with the Eagles for the mere fact that I feel like unless they lose or show any signs of weakness, then I'm not betting against them. But I think it's going to be a competitive one overall.
Yeah, I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, too, despite being 4-0, they're undefeated, but they have played a lot of competitive games that have come down close. So this certainly could be one that is another close game either way. But, Andrew, let's go on up over to you. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, that old movie, Any Given Sunday, right? That's that conversation. I think any team could beat any team in the NFL. Just look at what the Giants did to the Chargers last week. Of course, the turnovers were really the big story and penalties for that loss. Having said that, the Eagles are 4.5 points over on this. I think the Broncos, look, if they win, they're going to get a lot of kudos, just like this last game we discussed. But I just think the Eagles got a little too many weapons that the Broncos are they're going to fall short. But look, I think it'll be a competitive game. It'll probably come down to the wire. So I agree with Simone Raider that it's going to be close. But I just think the Eagles got a little too much moxie right now. And we'll see really what Bo Nix really is. I truly think he can look good against bad teams, but has he looked good against good teams? And so I don't know. We'll see how he goes. Again, we said this earlier about Bo Nix that he starts slow, and he had a good breakout game. But let's see if he can back it up again against a really good defense. So we'll see what happens.
All righty, Marcus. Well, we got 2 Philadelphia Eagles. We got 1 Denver Bronco. Are you going to make this 3 out of 4 Eagles, or are you going to have this one split perfectly down the middle?
I got the Broncos in this one. I think this is one of those games where you have, again, I know the Eagles are 4-0, the reigning champs. I get all that, but they just don't look good. I mean, Ryan brought up some of the drama they have going on over there. I mean, AJ Brown, they're 4-0 right now. The guy's posting cryptic tweets about, about not getting utilized. And you see this body language. Him and Devontae Smith, their body language is just not good. Just interesting stats though. So week 1 in their week. The game against the Rams, first half, they had 33 yards. Last week in the second half against the Buccaneers, they had -1 yard on offense. They're the first 4-0 team to start 4-0 and be outgained in every one of those games, which is wild. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's overall just not – I don't know. It feels like this is the right time for that team to lose. I think the Broncos are the team to do that. The one thing I will say, and there was a stat I brought up earlier – I mean, if it's a Bo Nix show where he's got to throw the ball a lot, I looked at. So in the 13 games, he's thrown for 30 more attempts in a game. In 10 of those games, he's throwing interceptions. So let's have more of a balanced game plan. Let's not have Bo throw too much in this game. But I do like the Broncos in this one. I think the Eagles right now, I think they're just paper champs. So
wow, this game.
I agree with you. If they can run the ball, if the Broncos can run the ball, I think they'll win it. If they can run the ball like they did against the Bengals, which obviously completely different defenses. They'll win it.
Wow. Game split perfectly down the middle. I'm going to be honest, I didn't see that one coming, but half the panel will be right next week, and half the panel will be wrong. Let's go, guys. Let's transition on to the final game. Samoan, you guys have been down and out ever since you faced the New England Patriots over the last couple of weeks. This time doesn't feel like it's going to get any easier because you are playing a team that's got Indiana Jones themselves playing lightning hot right now in the Indianapolis Colts. Is this an upset waiting to happen? And is this a game where you guys can get right? What do you think?
And well, definitely it's going to be a tough one. I mean, Indianapolis ain't no joke, 3-1. Even though they lost last week, I know they're going to be looking to bounce back this week. And from what I've seen from the Raiders last week, there's some good things there, and there's going to be a lot of things to really improve on, especially like I said earlier, that quarterback play and how well Geno Smith will look. And like honestly, like as a Raider fan, it's funny because I feel like this is one of those games that the Raiders could possibly pull up the upset and then give us a lot of hope going into playing the Tennessee Titans back at home just to lose to a winless Titans team. But I think overall, I think we're going to have a competitive matchup. I think it's still going to be another good matchup defensively. I have some trust in Ashton Genty, at least our running game, to go into this game. But I think the biggest concern, of course, is going to be the offensive line and whether or not they're going to continue to look the same. And without Colton Miller, how will this offensive line look? And then on top of that, Geno Smith, how will he look? So there's going to be a lot of questions.
Awful.
And at the hey, don't put that into the atmosphere, though. But hey, but I mean, you know what? Like to add on to that point, man. I think second week in a row, I'm betting on the Colts to win this one. I can't put it on my guys yet because they haven't proven it yet. So I hope I'm wrong, but I can't put it on the Raiders just yet.
Samoan taking the Colts over his Raiders. Andrew, let's go on up to you. Who you taking?
Yeah, it's gonna be the Colts, man. I look, Colts lost to the Rams last week, but the Rams are a damn good team. So I just think the Colts just look too good. Shane Steichen, as you guys know, was Justin Herbert's first offensive coordinator as a rookie. And he made things really easy for Justin Herbert to be successful his first year. And he's making it really easy for Indiana Jones to sling the ball. And I'll tell you, man, like, Simone, you guys got a good defense, but your offense has been fairly abysmal at this point. So you're just not going to score. So it is what it is. But, bottom line, I think the Colts are going to win this one for sure.
All right, we got two Colts. Let's go over to Marcus. Marcus, you going to make it 3?
Man, I feel like the Colts should be a higher favorite than a 6.5. So that is kind of a weird number. 91% of the money is on the Colts in this game over the Raiders. Playing at Indianapolis is tough. As I mentioned before, the crazy stats when opponents come to Indianapolis, it's kind of ridiculous, at least for the Chiefs and the Broncos. Last 3 games, the Raiders are 2-1 at Indianapolis. I'm going to go Colts, but I think it's going to be a close game. I think Raiders cover the spread, but I think the Colts win this game.
All right. Well, it looks like we got 3 out of 3 Colts. Ryan, you love to go with the hot hand. Are you going to take the Raiders for the upset?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders. This is one of those games that, what I say, every year, they have a few games where everyone thinks, they're going to lose to this team. It's going to, like the Colts have been hot recently. They're going to wipe the Raiders. They played against a tough Rams team. But, I mean, listen, I always listen to Marcus. Every time he talks about that spread and like where the money's at, 90%, I don't know. I just see Vegas just sees an opportunity. And the Raiders, I'm not saying they're good by any means, but this is just one of those games where it also seems like a lot of teams that the Broncos will sometimes have issues with. The Raiders, like the way that they match up against teams, it'll just be completely different because they play completely different styles. So I think the Raiders will win this one.
Wow. We got Ryan taking another upset, being the only one on the panel.
I want to take the Colts. I want to take the Colts.
Raiders.
My gut. It's just my gut. My gut is telling me the Raiders. It may be wrong,
Ryan's heart wants to pick the Colts, but his gut is telling him that it's going to be the Raiders. Let us know your guys' thoughts about these games in the comment section below. But other than that, that is going to wrap us up here for our Week 4 breakdowns and our Week 5 previews. We will be live next Tuesday to start off October football at 6:30 p.m. Eastern next Tuesday. Almost forgot the time, but we got it back. 6:30 p.m. Eastern next Tuesday. We'll be breaking down everything in week 5 and previewing week 6. But until next time, we appreciate you guys so much for watching here at the AFC West Roundtable. Make sure you guys leave a big like on the video on your way out. Make sure you guys also subscribe to these guys' individual channels. Links in the description box below. But until next time, we appreciate you guys for watching and stay safe.
Roundtable Sports Network is your one-stop shop for all things NFL, with daily live shows covering all 8 divisions in the league, hosted by the best content creators on the web, all on one network. Catch the AFC East live every Monday at 7 p.m. and on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. The AFC North Roundtable live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. The AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. The NFC East Roundtable live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. The NFC West Roundtable live at 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. The NFC North Roundtable is at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, and the NFC South Roundtable is live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST. And of course, fourth and forever, the flagship show of Roundtable Sports Network covering all things NFL at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Roundtable Sports YouTube channel. Real coverage, real fans.